Imagine waking up one morning to discover that your monthly Social Security check, a lifeline for millions of seniors, will no longer arrive on the same day it did last month. That's no hypothetical scenario. The Social Security Administration, SSA, has confirmed a sweeping change that will upend the payment schedule starting October 20th. If you or someone you love depends on those benefits, this announcement demands your immediate attention because your bank balance, your budgeting plans, your peace of mind, and even your bills could all be impacted. Until now, many seniors have taken for granted that their Social Security benefits would hit their account on a predictable date each month. For years, the SSA has followed a formula based on your birth date to determine when your check arrives. But that formula is now being turned on its head. In short, your payment day may change, and that change could be permanent. The agency confirms this new schedule is not a trial or a one-time adjustment, but the new normal, kicking in October 20th and affecting millions at once. It's not just a small tweak, this is a major overhaul of how benefits are distributed nationwide. Why is SSA doing this? Officials cite administrative efficiency, alignment with cash flow cycles, and streamlining operations as reasons. But behind the bureaucratic language lie real consequences. Some beneficiaries will receive their payments days earlier than before, while others could see delays of up to a week or more, depending on their original payment date. For those living paycheck to paycheck on Social Security, even a 1 or 2 day shift can wreak havoc. Picture this: Mrs. Hernandez, 72, has always budgeted carefully, paying rent on the first of each month when her SSI hit on the 29th of the prior month. Now, her check may drop on the 25th, too early for some utilities to align, or conversely, it might arrive on the 3rd of May, missing her rent window entirely. Thousands like her may find late fees, overdrafts, and scrambling to make ends meet where there was no margin for error before. But the change isn't entirely negative. Some will benefit. Individuals accustomed to receiving payments late in the month may find their funds arriving sooner, giving them advance notice and extra time to manage bills. That buffer could allow better planning or even small investments of idle funds. However, this uneven effect means not everyone wins and many could lose. The SSA is rolling out an informational campaign to alert beneficiaries, sending letters, posting notices online, and coordinating with financial institutions. But timing is tight. With the new schedule set to begin October 20th, many recipients may miss the memo entirely, only noticing when their expected funds don't show up. Well, that's why your attention is essential. Even if your payment hasn't changed yet, you must check your account statements and stay alert. What do recipients need to do now? First, review your bank's incoming transfers around that date. Watch for notices from the SSA or changes in your bank app. Message logs. If you depend on that income for rent, medical bills, or prescriptions, call your vendors preemptively and ask about late fees or grace periods. If your payment arrives later than expected, open a case with SSA immediately. There may be provisions or exceptions. Be especially vigilant in October when these shifts take effect nationwide. One critical detail: the new schedules will still correlate largely to your birth date, but with adjusted windows. For instance, if your birthday falls in the first 10 days of the month, your payment may land between the 15th and 19th. Those born later in the month could see payments closer to the 20th to your 24th window. Again, this is a general outline. The exact date depends on SSA's internal mapping, and they've yet to publish full tables to the public. Financial advisors are sounding the alarm. They warn that even a few days' disruption can trigger late fees on credit cards, utility disconnects, missed mortgage payments, and even damage to credit scores. Seniors on fixed incomes often lack the flexibility to absorb these shifts. The new schedule could magnify the precariousness of many household budgets. Perhaps the most controversial angle: SSA's rationale includes reducing processing costs and consolidating payment disbursements into tighter windows. Critics argue that cost savings shouldn't come at the expense of vulnerable beneficiaries. Why overhaul decades of predictability? Why not phase in changes slowly or allow opt-in flexibility? Some worry the sweeping change is being pushed through with minimal recourse for affected parties. And there's another wrinkle: payments tied to disability insurance, survivor benefits, and other SSA-administered programs may also be bound by the new schedule, or at least influenced by it. That means more than just retirees need to pay attention. Anyone receiving federal benefits through SSA should closely monitor their accounts and communications in the coming weeks. Finally, there's urgency. October 20th isn't far. If you've dismissed notices, set up automatic withdrawals expecting the old schedule, or rely on your Social Security payment as your primary income, now is the moment to act. Don't wait until your funds are delayed. Confirm with SSA, alert your bank, prepare backup resources, and be ready to contest any harmful changes. This is not just an administrative update. It's a game changer for millions of seniors and beneficiaries. The shift from old expectations to a new reality could be disruptive. But forewarned is forearmed when payments start flowing under the new schedule on October 20th. The world your benefit spinner has operated in will be recalibrated, and knowing exactly where and when your check lands will make all the difference. As the new Social Security payment schedule takes effect on October 20th, what happens next could reshape how millions of retirees manage their daily lives. This isn't just another bureaucratic adjustment. It's a reprogramming of America's safety net. And how smoothly this transition unfolds could determine whether seniors find stability or financial chaos in the weeks ahead. For many, this change will feel like stepping into the unknown. Every date, every deposit, and every bill payment will now orbit around an unfamiliar timeline, forcing seniors to adapt at lightning speed. And while SSA insists this overhaul will streamline the system, questions are swirling. Streamlined for whom? Seniors. Or the system itself? The reality is, SSA's new schedule was designed with automation and efficiency in mind, not necessarily convenience for beneficiaries. Centralizing payments reduces processing costs and minimizes errors, but it also means a handful of technical glitches could ripple through the entire network. Think of it as a digital domino effect. If one payment batch stalls, thousands could face sudden delays. Experts are already warning banks and credit unions to prepare for unexpected timing variances. The agency promises this time will be different, more secure, more reliable. But for seniors who live one deposit away from hardship, promises won't pay for prescriptions or groceries. As October 20th approaches, community centers, senior advocacy groups, and even local banks are urging beneficiaries to keep emergency funds on hand and verify their deposit history weekly. Adding to the confusion, the new schedule rollout isn't happening all at once. It's being staggered, with groups of recipients shifted gradually into the new system over several pay cycles. This means while some beneficiaries see changes immediately after October 20th, others may not notice until November or December. The staggered rollout was meant to ease the transition, but instead it's creating a fog of uncertainty. No one knows exactly when their change will hit. Seniors across the country are flooding SSA's call centers, waiting on hold for hours to confirm their dates. Some report receiving conflicting information depending on which agent they reach. In a system where every day without clarity can mean unpaid bills, frustration is mounting fast. Behind the scenes, financial institutions are bracing themselves. Many banks are quietly updating internal systems to align with SSA's new distribution pattern, adjusting fraud detection and deposit timing protocols. Some have even issued alerts warning customers to allow 1 to 3 business days of flexibility for government deposits during the transition period. Translation: if your money doesn't show up when you expect it, don't panic, but also don't count on it arriving on the dot. That's a hard pill to swallow for retirees whose entire financial rhythm depends on predictability. For decades, the promise of Social Security wasn't just the payment itself, it was the certainty of that payment. And now, that promise feels a little less certain. Politicians are starting to take notice, too. Several lawmakers have called on SSA to pause or slow the rollout until clearer public communication is in place. They argue that many seniors aren't even aware of the change and could be blindsided by delayed or rescheduled payments. Advocacy groups like the National Council on Aging and AARP are demanding that SSA launch a national awareness campaign, televised, printed, and digital, to ensure no beneficiary is caught off guard. But as of mid-October, SSA has stuck to its schedule, insisting the benefits of modernization outweigh the temporary confusion. Whether that confidence is well-founded remains to be seen. Still, not all the news is bad. Some seniors may find that their payments now align better with their monthly expenses. For example, those who used to receive benefits late in the month might now get them earlier, offering breathing room before rent and utilities are due. Others, especially those with direct deposit, might notice faster clearance times as SSA's upgraded systems handle transfers more efficiently. The agency claims that by the end of the transition, payments will not only be more reliable but also easier to track through digital dashboards and alerts, part of a broader modernization push aimed at reducing fraud and improving transparency. In the long run, SSA says the overhaul will make the system smarter, faster, and more resilient. The question is whether beneficiaries can weather the short-term turbulence to see those benefits. Meanwhile, social media is ablaze with speculation and misinformation. Posts claiming that SSA is cutting payments, changing benefit amounts, or canceling checks have gone viral, sowing unnecessary panic. The SSA has categorically denied these rumors. The payment amounts remain exactly the same, only the dates are shifting. Still, misinformation spreads faster than fact, and for many elderly Americans who rely on word-of-mouth news or community groups, these rumors can spark real fear. Experts urge seniors to get information directly from official SSA sources, not social media or third-party websites, to avoid falling victim to scams that exploit confusion during transitions like this one. At the heart of it all, this change highlights a deeper truth about America's aging population. Millions of seniors live on razor-thin margins, and any disruption, no matter how well-intentioned, can have outsized consequences. Whether this payment schedule update becomes a model of modernization or a cautionary tale will depend on how quickly SSA can respond to issues once they arise. But one thing is certain, come October 20th, the landscape of Social Security payments will never be the same again. Seniors, caregivers, and families across the nation should be watching their calendars, checking their accounts, and preparing for a new era in how their benefits arrive. Because in this new system, timing isn't just everything, it's survival. It happened just hours ago. The president has inked into law a sweeping bill that will profoundly reshape Social Security and veterans' benefits across the country. The nation is buzzing with speculation and questions. How will this impact millions of retirees, disabled Americans, and our honored veterans who have sacrificed so much? As the ink dries on the pages, experts warn that the changes could trigger both opportunity and upheaval. What once seemed unthinkable is now reality. And everyone wants to know, are you better off or worse off? The legislation, championed as a modernization and safety net strengthening measure, is creating shockwaves through Washington and Main Street alike. From the outset, critics and supporters clashed in dramatic fashion. Backers insist that the law closes loopholes, cracks down on fraud, and ensures sustainable funding for decades to come. Skeptics counter with alarm, accusing lawmakers of unleashing cuts masked as reforms. One provision freezes the automatic cost of living adjustments for higher-income Social Security recipients, a move that, though subtle, could shave hundreds of dollars annually from retirement checks. At the same time, the measure promises expanded benefits for low-income retirees and introduces new indexing formulas to help younger generations. The tension is palpable. Is this a fair compromise or a bait and switch? Under the new rules, a retiree with modest benefits might see a moderate boost, but a middle-tier beneficiary could confront stagnation or small reductions over time. That, in turn, reignites long-standing debates about intergenerational fairness, fiscal responsibility, and the proper role of government. But the bill doesn't stop there. Registered veterans, especially those currently receiving disability payments or pension benefits, have been watching closely. And the news is equally dramatic. The act increases certain veterans' benefit tiers and promises enhanced support for those suffering from service-related illnesses like PTSD, traumatic brain injury, and other long-term health conditions. During that transition, some benefit recipients may see delays, confusing recalculations, or temporary downgrades in monthly amounts while administrative systems adjust. Advocacy groups are mobilizing hotlines and informational campaigns, urging citizens to double-check statements, report discrepancies, and possibly appeal recalculations. Thousands are asking, should they delay retirement? Should they rush to claim earlier benefits before the new rules kick in? The practical challenge will be enormous. Behind the headlines lies a logistical web of computer upgrades, retraining staff, and rewriting guidance manuals. Meanwhile, political fallout is already brewing. Opponents condemn the law as a backward step that rewards the wealthy and penalizes average citizens. Democratic critics argue that instead of cutting benefits, the government should increase revenues through fair taxation. Some senators are threatening to raise procedural challenges or force rollback amendments down the road. On the flip side, the administration defends its action, calling the legislation balanced, fiscally responsible, and future-proof. Late-night talk shows and cable news panels are alight with pundits trying to decipher winners and losers. Editorial spike, the biggest overhaul since the Great Society, some declare, while others deem it a Trojan horse of benefit reduction. If you're a Social Security recipient, a soon-to-be retiree, or someone whose loved ones served, here's what you should do immediately. Review your benefit statement. Contact your SSA or Veteran Affairs office and consult a trusted financial planner. Watch your bank account statements closely. Be ready to appeal adjustments promptly if something seems off. In local offices, employees warn clients, hold tight. Don't base life decisions on assumptions until your new official statement arrives. The worst thing, panicking prematurely and making irreversible financial choices. This law is complex, full of interlocking parts, hidden ceilings, face-ins, and carve-outs. No two recipients may see the same net effect. And while the national debate roars, there's a quiet human story behind every number. A retired teacher dependent on Social Security, a disabled veteran waiting for a decision, a spouse anxiously counting pennies. For them, the law is not abstract. It's life-altering. Some may see modest gains. Others may confront cuts or delays. The change is seismic. This is not just politics, and it's policy crashing into people's daily lives. So as the country sorts through legislative fine print, hear this. The moment you pay attention could make all the difference in what you receive this fall, next year, or a decade from now. As the days unfold, the effects of the president's newly signed bill begin to ripple through the nation, igniting a storm of reactions. Social media is ablaze with mixed emotions, relief, outrage, confusion, as millions attempt to decode what this sweeping reform truly means for their wallets and futures. Financial experts appear on every news network, warning viewers that the fine print hides surprises, both good and bad. Seniors who had counted on steady cost of living increases now face uncertainty, while younger workers wonder if their long-term contributions will ever pay off. At the same time, the administration is launching a full-scale campaign to calm nerves, touting the bill as the dawn of a modernized era of fairness and sustainability. But critics aren't buying it. This isn't reform, it's realignment, one analyst declared, and not everyone will come out ahead. The fear is that this bill could be a turning point in the social contract between the government and its citizens. Behind the scenes, government agencies are racing against the clock to reprogram outdated systems, train staff, and issue new benefit formulas. The phrase adjustment period is becoming a political shield, a vague timeline that could stretch for years. In towns and cities across the nation, the real stories unfold. A retired nurse in Ohio finds her check slightly smaller, though her neighbor reports a modest bump. A veteran in Texas receives notice that his claim has been fast-tracked, while another waits months for a response. The disparity fuels frustration. Social media platforms fill with personal testimonies, stories of gratitude and despair alike. They said it would help people like me, one widow writes, but my survivor benefit just dropped by 82 tom. The administration responds by urging patience, claiming the new benefit formulas will balance out once all calculations are fully implemented. Yet, trust in the process is fraying. Advocacy coalitions are forming nationwide, preparing lawsuits and petitions demanding clarity. Congressional hearings are already being scheduled as politicians scramble to control the narrative ahead of the next election cycle. What was meant to be a unifying act of reform has instead deepened partisan divides, with both sides accusing the other of betraying the American people. As the political temperature rises, the human dimension remains stark. Elderly citizens sit at kitchen tables, calculators in hand, trying to make sense of new statements. Veterans, already weary from navigating red tape, brace for another wave of paperwork. Financial planners are swamped with calls from anxious clients asking whether they should delay retirement, switch benefit options, or move savings out of volatile markets. The uncertainty has turned into a psychological strain, a silent burden carried by millions. A wave of confusion has already struck as letters hit mailboxes nationwide, some containing recalculated benefit amounts, others requesting verification of income and assets. Seniors, many unfamiliar with online portals and complex forms, are feeling overwhelmed. Call centers are jammed, websites are crashing, and misinformation is spreading fast. Advocacy groups are warning of potential scams preying on the chaos, with fraudsters posing as Social Security or VA officials to steal personal data. Meanwhile, lawmakers who supported the bill insist these are temporary growing pains that will fade once the new system stabilizes. Yet, those reassurances do little to comfort a population that relies on every dollar to make ends meet. For veterans, the stakes are especially high. Some may see their disability payments boosted. Others could face delays in processing as the Department of Veterans Affairs transitions to a new claims model. The government promises faster approvals, but skeptics recall previous reform rollouts that resulted in bureaucratic nightmares. Economists are divided. Some hail the bill as a bold and necessary correction that will keep Social Security solvent for decades, preventing a looming collapse in the 2030s. Churches, community centers, and nonprofits step in to help seniors interpret letters, offering free consultations to those who can't afford professional advice. Meanwhile, Major news outlets publish breakdowns of the bill, but each one seems to reveal another layer of complexity, another unexpected twist. What started as a political headline has evolved into a national reckoning with how America cares for its most vulnerable citizens. In the end, one truth emerges. This law is more than a fiscal adjustment. It's a defining moment for the nation's values. It tests whether America will honor its promises to those who built, served, and sustained it. The president calls it a bold step forward, but for millions, it feels like standing at the edge of an uncertain cliff. The next few months will determine whether this reform ushers in renewal or regret. One thing is certain, every retiree, veteran, and working American will be watching closely, waiting to see if the promise of security still holds true, or if the new era of reform will rewrite what generations believed was guaranteed. The clock is ticking, the checks are changing, and the story of how this law reshapes America's social contract is only just beginning.